Hello and welcome to What's the Story? Who am I trying to be? Hello and welcome to What's the Story Ghost. I am your host Annette.
Hello, I'm Steven.
Do you know what it is? It's because I'm on the wrong side again. So we know.
Start again. Hello and welcome to.
We noticed that last week there were a lot of bangs from the mic boom, so we're trying to reorganise the recording space. So bear with us while I just feel a little discombobulated. Why do you have my water? Are you trying to be me?
No, this was your side and you left it behind.
I am on the dark side now. Steven!
Yeah.
Do you know, in all the research I did, I actually have no idea where this painting currently is.
We're doing a painting?
We're doing another haunted
What
object.
episode number is it?
It is, we are on episode 88.
Paint the gate. None of these are real bingo calls.
No. Shall we crack on?
Let's crack on.
The last time I covered a haunted painting, if you haven't heard it yet, it's episode 37, the Crying Boy painting. But anyway, when I covered that episode, I thought to myself, I'm so glad we aren't art people. We're more vain and just hang photos we've taken ourselves. But if I stumble upon a market of a random Sunday while exploring Kildare, as we're known to do now at the weekend, and I happen to find a beautiful painting and I'm swept up in a whirlwind of feelings and I just have to have it, feel free to remind me how I felt while doing the deep dive for this episode before I hand over my bank card. Some art is abstract and can be interpreted in many ways. It can mean something completely different to different people. Some art comes with a story to describe what the artist was trying to convey, nearly like a bio for the characters in the painting. And some art needs to come with a warning, not just before you buy it, but before you lay eyes on it. Let's begin the story. In 1972, the artist Bill Stoneham created a painting entitled The Hands Resist Him. Stoneham's spouse penned a poem titled Hands Resist Him, inspired by her husband's experience of being adopted and not knowing his biological parents. Stoneham had a deal with Charles Feingarten, the owner of a nearby gallery, to create 2 paintings monthly for a fee of $200 each. In search of inspiration, he utilised his wife's poem and an old photograph. But he never could have known what effect his inspiration would have on its beholders. The piece garnered widespread attention decades later as a supposed cursed work that induced macabre visions in those who viewed it. Stoneham revealed that the painting was based on a photograph taken of him at the age of 5. His family had been residing in his grandmother's apartment in Chicago at the time, as his father was frequently away on business. The photograph featured Stoneham and a young girl from the neighbourhood posing in front of a glass-panelled door. During the creation of the painting, Stoneham made alterations to the original image, including blurring his own face and giving the young girl's features a lifeless, doll-like appearance. Furthermore, he painted hands reaching out from behind the glass door, which can be interpreted as hands reaching out to the children, or as if attempting to grab the viewer. While it is acknowledged that art can be a window into an individual's psyche, it is important to note that the painting's creator intended the hands to symbolise various possibilities. Stoneham has stated that the glass door represents the thin divide between reality and dreams, while the girl doll figure serves as a guide through these realms. It's interesting to note that the painting was exhibited in a gallery show hosted by Feingarten in 1974, which was attended by actor John Marley, notable for his role as Jack Woltz in The Godfather, and art critic Henry Seldes did the painting's first write-up. Unfortunately, the painting's association with untimely deaths has given rise to speculation about its alleged curse. According to reports, Henry Seldes passed away in 1978 on the eve of his 53rd birthday. Although his death was officially ruled a suicide, the exact circumstances surrounding his demise remain unclear. Charles Feingarten, who hosted the art show, passed away in 1981 after battling cancer. And as for Marley, the actor with the horse head in the bed, died in 1984 following heart surgery at age 77. Before Marley passed, he sold the painting, but no one knew who to. After Marley passed away, an elderly couple from California discovered the painting at an old brewery site. They later listed it on eBay in February 2000. The couple claimed that the painting was cursed or haunted and made several assertions to support their claim. They alleged that the characters in the painting moved at night and occasionally left the painting. The original eBay listing said, and in all caps, "One morning, our 4.5-year-old daughter claimed that the children in the picture were fighting and coming into the room during the night. The father of the young girl set up a motion sensor camera to prove to her that there was nothing to fear. However, instead of finding reassurance, the father discovered footage of a boy crawling out of the painting." Also included in the listing were a series of photographs that were said to be evidence that the female doll character threatened the male character with a gun that she was holding in an attempt to make him leave the painting. And the listing included a disclaimer absolving the seller of liability. The listing received over 30,000 views, with some viewers claiming supernatural experiences after looking at a photo of the painting. Reports included hearing an exorcist-type voice and feeling a blast of hot air, becoming ill upon seeing the painting, and having to burn white sage to cleanse the house. After the initial bid of $199, the painting sold for $1,025 to the Perception Gallery in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and the legend of the haunted painting continued to spread online. The Perception Gallery's owner reported that no strange occurrences had happened yet, aside from what others had previously reported. However, reports from other people familiar with the work continued to surface, such as printers mutilating pages when attempting to print downloaded images of the painting. The artist Stoneham was later commissioned to create 2 sequels and a prequel to the original painting. Despite the eerie nature of the painting and its subsequent sequels, Stoneham never intended to scare anyone. He believes that paintings are mysterious objects that draw people in with their subjective beauty and horror. While creating art with one's hands adds power and legitimacy to the piece, it's the betrayal of many hands reaching from an endless blackness toward our world that gives us the chills. While the painting's supposed curse remains a matter of debate, it is worth noting that the painting itself is a brilliant example of how art can represent multiple interpretations and perspectives. Truly, one man's meditation is another man's nightmare. What do you think of that story?
That was a fun story.
I know it was really short. There's tons more I could have covered on it. I just didn't know exactly how to format it in a, me just talking instead of us having a conversation. So for anyone who obviously can't see, I am showing Steven the other photographs because it's important to know kind of where the sequel came from. So the first photo is the boy and his doll friend, which is creepy. There have been reports where people said, I think it was actually the little girl who said that she saw the girl holding a gun. And I think if you're looking at the painting, you can see that she's holding a battery with exposed wires. I don't know if that's supposed to be like her heart or something. That's creepy in itself.
That's in the original, isn't it?
That's in the original one. I'll show you the original one again because I like to find the long photos because the ones that are cropped don't really show how many hands are in it. Yeah. And you need to see all the hands because all the hands are creepy.
Do I need to see how scary this is?
It's not, but do you see if you were a 4-year-old kid, or if that could look like a gun? It's basically one of the panes or one of the pieces of wood between the 2 panes of glass and the battery.
Yeah, I see that.
And it kind of like an old school kind of like.
It's a pretty old school, but in fairness, the boys are wearing sandals and shorts, so it's pretty old school.
Oh god, yeah, the socks are halfway up his legs.
You can actually see the crease where he's painted
the knee joint, yeah, and her elbow as well. Yeah. Like he put a lot of. It's crazy because he's very, very talented, no doubt about it. I mean, he has a haunted painting, so I'm obviously going to say nothing but good things about the man.
The last thing you want to do is end up in one of his paintings.
The second painting is basically the young boy is now an older man with a beard, and he kind of looks like something from he looks like a time traveller. Did you get that vibe when I showed you the picture?
No, let's have a look at it.
I'll show you again. He kind of. oh, I want to say Indiana Jones, but not Indiana Jones. That's not who I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of someone who's like had to try and survive, I suppose, because he has like the trench coat.
Oh, this is a different one here.
Yeah, this is the second one, sorry.
So this is like...
So this is supposed to be further down the line, like a good few years down the line. The hands are very defined. They're not just, is that a hand? Does that look like a hand? I'm not quite sure if that looks like a hand. Like the first painting, you could mistake it for something else. But they're very defined, you can see that.
And there, I thought that was a battery operated thing with the cables hanging out, very similar to what she was holding, but it's
I
actually...
think it's a hornet.
It's a hornet, yeah. You can see another one up there.
And then the third painting is the perspective from the opposite side of the window. And you can see it's the young boy's silhouette and the doll's silhouette. Now, the fact that he was able to take a photo of him at the age of 5 with a neighbour and turn it into something as creative as this is amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I can look at this one, because I started looking at the sequel, so the third one.
This one kind of looks like the Upside Down to me, only it has a bit more colour.
That's what I was thinking, but every time I look at it, the longer you look, the more you see something else.
Like another hand.
There's another hand.
Yeah.
There's a painting there. He's something hanging from him. This hand is controlled by a wire. I'd love to see what else is going on down on the floor.
Yeah, I know.
Because there's stuff coming out of the floor and it looks like little locks to things, and Medusa, the bike is like a Medusa snake situation.
It's got vines coming out of it going into the ground, but he has a paintbrush in his hand, so I think he is one of the hands that represents the creative side, because the hands were supposed to represent opportunities and how we have dreams of things and we aspire to be things, but sometimes we're too afraid to act on them. So it's a real mind jiggery kind of painting. But it surprises me in no way, shape or form that people thought that this thing was haunted, because I have walked past, like say some of the fancy hotels that we've stayed in for people's weddings or just, you know, nice occasions. I have walked past portraits of people who are donkey's years dead, and I'm like, is that guy following me? That guy's following me. But I've never slept in a room with a portrait before, and my mind does crazy things when I'm half asleep. Do you remember when the kids were, I mean, teeny tiny, and you had took one of them into the bed?
I know where this is going.
You took one of them into the bed to try and soothe him back asleep and then put him back in his cot, which you did, but you forgot the middle part. So when you woke up...
In my defence, we were delirious.
We were delirious. But you woke up convinced that he was under the pillow for some reason.
I couldn't see him. I looked... No. I thought he was still beside me. And I looked, and in your delirium, you will look everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping I wasn't going to find him under the pillow.
Yes.
Because that's obviously bad. I looked under the pillow. I looked on the floor beside the bed.
You woke me to look under my pillow.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, come on. If you want to be delirious by yourself. But when you are tired and your mind starts to play tricks on you, it's very hard to make sense of things. But when you have this portrait staring at you, of course that thing's going to start talking to you.
Well, it gets your mind going, and then you have weird dreams. Like, I'm watching Hannibal at the moment, and it's
before bedtime. What are you doing?
It's a mind meld. I've only a couple of episodes, and I just want to get it done so I can move on with my life.
You came over to me during the week and you were like, I had the weirdest dreams, and I was like, that's because you watched Hannibal and you ate cheese. They're two combinations that you're not supposed to do.
Cheese sandwich, wash it down with a glass of milk, and then I watched Hannibal.
All the calcium going to bed.
Yeah. For those of you who can't afford drugs, cheese sandwich, glass of milk.
Cheese sandwich, trippy
Season 3 of Hannibal.
Trippy dreams. Have you any characters for me?
Well, actually, the artist, some sort of creepy guy, and none other than Mads Mikkelsen. Do you know who he is?
No.
It's a cool name for this particular Mads, M-A-D-S. He is the fella who plays Hannibal in Hannibal.
Of course he is. Of course he is. And you know what? You could name a whole bunch of people out of that, because I will not watch that programme. I barely made it through Dexter.
Yeah. Well, the intro to Dexter was probably the hardest thing to watch, when he was cutting up the ham and
then the orange, and I was like, oh, why is this supposed to scare me or turn me on? It was like one of those sensual breakfasts, and I'm like, that's not meat he's cutting.
It was ASMR.
Did he ever eat them, or did he just chop them up? No, he just chopped them up. Hannibal Lecter ate them.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's a normal thing to do, like.
Well, it is if your nickname is Hannibal the Cannibal.
Is it a good show? Yeah. Would I be able for it?
No.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty.
I recommend your sister watching it though.
No. I think it was the last year we went on a boat trip. We're not boat people. We don't own a boat. We just like regular people who rent a boat. One of the years that we went, I think it was the last year we went on the boat, and I think you joined us for the second half of the week, but we somehow managed to convince my sister to watch Hacksaw Ridge, which, yes, it is a gory movie, and yes, if you're more affected by movies that are like based on true events, and they really tend to like hit different, this is one of those movies because it is based on true events, but it's very gory. And I was like, Hannah, I promise you it'll be worth it. And I think a lot of alcohol needed to be drank after that so that the poor thing could fall asleep, because some people just aren't built for those kind of things. I don't think she's ever watched Dexter. I don't think she'd like Dexter.
No, don't think so.
No, she uses my Disney account to watch the Kardashians. So if you ever log on to my Disney, please don't assume that it's me watching the Kardashians. I don't have any interest in the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm.
Fame for the sake of being famous just doesn't make sense to me. Please follow my podcast. Anyway, back to the painting. There are a couple of things that he has done that are kind of freaky deaky and would definitely kind of spark your imagination. And when I say things are abstract, there's nothing abstract about like, that's terrifying. That's the kind of stuff I have nightmares about. It's like I love trees, but when they have no leaves on them, despite the fact that autumn and winter and springtime, so basically anything other than summer, is my favourite season of the year. For some weird reason, spiny trees freak me out. That's not pleasant for me. And I know that there's a forest. I'm not 100% sure where it is. I think it's in Poland, but all of the trees look like as they were growing they got hit with a shockwave, and they all just go and bend to the right and then up again. No. Forests with creepy trees are just not for me. I don't like that. But his paintings are very interesting, and he is a very talented man. Is there anything else that we should say about him?
It's funny what you see in advance, because what does that look like to you?
Looking through an owl's mouth.
I'm looking through a bullet hole at a set of golf clubs.
I did say it was abstract. So we finish up there?
Say words.
So thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I will of course include the links in the show notes, and if you have any questions on this or any other episode, our socials are What's the Story Ghost on Instagram and What's the Story Ghost at gmail.com if you have any personal stories you would like to share. And those are all my words.
Exit jingle.
Exit jingle.
I'm Hannibal the cannibal and I'm gonna eat ya. Hannibal the cannibal, I'm gonna eat ya with a glass of Chianti and some lima beans. Bye. I never would have guessed that was just pure perfection, Stephen.